Hi everyone, I'm James from Outside and we've come to Kerbridge today on a perfect cold and breezy autumnal day to talk you through the new RAB Infinity range. So everyone knows RAB for making down jackets. If you don't know that, where have you been the last 10, 15, 20 years? They make some of the highest quality down jackets in the world and they're sort of really famous for their best-selling jacket, the Microlite Alpine. So RAB worked quite closely with Gore-Tex. They obviously use their Gore-Tex Pro and other membranes in their waterproofs, but they were really excited about this Infinium fabric that they're using with these three jackets I'm about to show you. So the first thing to know about Gore-Tex Infinium is it's not a waterproof membrane. Now don't get me wrong, the whole point in it is it's incredibly water resistant. So the joy with it is it's much lighter and more flexible and packable and breathable than a proper Gore-Tex Pro or whatever membrane, which is always quite crunchy and wouldn't really work on a down jacket. So what RAB have done is they've basically put it over the outside of some of their famous jackets, particularly this Microlite Alpine that's been boosted to the Microlite Infinity. And that improves it in so many ways for me, because as we all know, down jackets are great. They're really warm, they pack small, all that, we know about that. But everyone also knows in the UK, it rains a lot, we get wet. In the mountains when we use them, it gets damp and when down gets wet, the feathers collapse and you lose your warmth. So put a near enough waterproof, very water resistant outer on a jacket like this and it's just so much more versatile. So the Gore Infinium is incredibly soft, still incredibly packable, but it has much higher water resistancy than the normal fabrics they may use. But it's also tougher as well and gets a nice matte soft finish to it. So you can probably use this a bit harder environments than you would the normal Microlite. I'm probably going to chuck it in my bouldering pad in a bit when we go for a climb. And I really will stand up to it. It also traps a bit more hot air in as well, so it feels warmer than the average Microlite with no extra weight. So most of the same features in the Microlite Alpine and the Microlite Infinity are still there. They use the 700 fill recycled pure down. They also have that treated Nikwax hydrophobic treatment. Now, those two things you might not know about. So what RAB have decided to do is take a real good ethical standpoint. With their best-selling jacket, the Microlite, and this one now, they've decided to use recycled down. They can only get to about 700 fill power of quality when using recycled because they're just collecting what they can. So this is stuff that would have gone to landfill and end of life. So it's just much better for the environment. Let's not put this in the bin, let's use it again. That gives you a real good combination between price and warmth and packability at 700 fill. And that's high enough for a jacket like this, which most of us are going to use day-to-day life and occasionally take up the hills as well. The feathers then get a Nikwax hydrophobic treatment. So basically all the feathers inside this have been washed and proofed in the same way we might wash our waterproofs. So that makes them much less likely to soak up moisture. So if water ever did get in through here, which would be hard to do, the feathers would stand up to that much better than a standard down jacket. This means they can retain their loft and keep their warmth. All this very important in the UK, although not today. So I'm wearing a large, which I think fits me just right. But if you're in a medium, you get 146 grams of down in this one. So the main features are still here with the Microlite. So you've got the lovely hand warmer pocket, it's got a really good chest pocket, which is nice for phone and things like that. So the hood on this is really good. To save weight and faff, they've just got an elasticated section on the back there. And that fits really well whether I'm wearing a helmet or not, without any of the faff. It's got the standard hem tighteners down here so you can really seal in any warmth if it's a windy day. Basically, this is a really usable bit of kit, whether you're wearing it in the street, to the pub, or taking it up the hills. So in the Infinity Alpine, we've got most of the same features we just looked at in the previous jacket. We've still got the Gore Infinium outer, but what they've done cleverly with this one is we've used two different thicknesses. So this is like an overlay in the shoulders for harder wearing areas, and then the lighter, more packable in the body, just to save on weight and help with really getting it down into the bottom of your rucksack. So this is 13 denier and 30 denier. Now this is a warmer jacket. It's not that much heavier, but it is warmer. That's because they're using higher quality down. We've gone into 800 fill hydrophobic down now. So if you don't know what that means, it basically has more loft in the feathers to get this sort of loft and warmth we need to really trap the air in and keep us cozy. It certainly feels like it. So in a medium, which this is, and if I'm honest, I think it's a little bit small. The last jacket was a large, so just so you know, I'm 6'4", and this is a medium, so if you're about my size, probably get a large. But they use 175 grams worth of down in this, so that's quite a lot of a high quality down, so really toasty warm. So this has certainly been designed thinking you're probably going to wear it in harsher conditions than the last jacket. So that's why we've got a two-way zip on it as well. So that means I could belay with it or whatever I might want to do a little bit higher up the mountain. So it's still got the really nice cuffs, just as the last one, but instead of an external pocket, they've actually moved to an internal pocket. That just means if you've got a phone or something in there, it's a bit closer to the body, so it'll keep you a little bit warmer and the battery life lasts a bit longer. So stitching is an obvious area where water can get into the jacket sometimes, but on this one they've done really clever new technology called interstitch. So basically what they've done is rolled a little flap of the sort of Gore Infinium round, and it's stitched inside, so we can't actually see the stitching, and that stops water ingress. So basically the water would run down the jacket, drip off the next one and the next one, and just keep going down, and so it shouldn't find its way into that down. And even if it did, remember it's hydrophobic down, so it can probably cope with it pretty well anyway. So I think this jacket is probably perfect for sort of summer alpine, maybe even some of the warmer winter alpine, maybe not big North Faces where you might want to take something a bit more substantial, but we'll move on to that. But weight, durability, warmth, packability, pretty damn awesome. So some of you might be thinking, with this interstitch I've just explained, why would they just not use box wall construction? Now, box wall basically means there's no gaps in the down, and that makes it sort of warmer and like harder for the moisture to get in there, but it is a bit bulkier and harder to pack. So this, they've chosen the interstitch so that there's sort of still no places water can ingress and wind and warmth get out, but you've still got that main packability, which is really good, and that's what we're mainly focusing on if you're taking up a hill and not wearing it all the time. However, if this is not enough for you and you want something warmer, try this bad boy. Oof, this is warm. This is the Infinity jacket. This is the big brother to all these other ones. So basically a lot of the features are still there, but this is just so beefed up. They're still using the 800 fill, really high quality hydrophobic down, but this time there's 250 grams worth of it in there. So that means it's nearly twice as warm as the last one we looked at. Again, they've gone for the 30 denier reinforced areas for extra hard wearing. Bit more paneling of it this time, because this is going to get really abused. Maybe when you're out for day after day in the high mountains as well. The lighter areas is still the 13 denier, but there's also a few little features on here which make it a bit easier to use when you're really in all your warm clothes. So while the last two jackets just had elasticated cuffs, they've gone back to the Velcro tabs here. So this is easier if you're wearing big gloves and pulling it over. You might want to tighten it up once they're on, or even if you're not wearing them, you can get it nice and snug. Still got the two-way zip, so if you are wearing this while belaying, you can really do that quite easily, because otherwise it's over your harness. Now they've still used that interstitch technology, but they've also done it using box wall construction. So like I tried to explain before, when you use stitch through, you basically get these little areas where there's no down, so it's not quite as warm there. When it's box wall, there's two straight lines there, little bits of mesh in between. That can really make a solid wall of down, so there's no gaps of warmth. Packability is not quite as good as in the last two jackets, but warmth to weight, it's just amazing. So once again, this is a medium. So as you can see, this is actually larger than the last jacket I tried. It fits me better actually today, because they oversize it on purpose. They expect you to have more layers on under this, because you're probably somewhere very cold in the first place. So do take all this into thought while you're considering buying one of these. So this one's got all the bells and whistles. It's got an external zip pocket, which has some insulation on the outside just to keep things a bit warm in there. It's got really big chunky pull cords here, so that means I can use them even if I've got big gloves on. And really importantly for me, it's got big dump pockets on the inside. So whether I'm sort of head touch bouldering and I want to keep my shoes warm that might go in there, or I am actually using where it was intended in the big mountains and I might want to put my spare gloves in there while belaying. So like the last two jackets, it has got these internal pull cords to the hood to really tighten around your face, but it's also got a big pull cord on the back, which the others didn't. This is because it's sort of oversized hood. It's more built for helmets than it is a helmet-less head, but obviously you can still pull it in nice and tight when you're not wearing it with a helmet. Now all three of these jackets might look the same in these blue, but they do come in some amazing other colours as well, but I've only got these samples to come and get dirty on the hill today, so you know, gonna do what you can, can't you? So all three of these jackets come with a really nice stuff sack, just showing how small they can go. This big bad boy will fit in here, isn't that pretty awesome? I would probably keep it in a waterproof dry bag myself, just so you always know it's bone dry no matter what happens. It might not be raining, but what if your water bottle breaks? Even though it's all water resistant and all that, you know, you still want to get it dry. You don't want it to be wet in your bag, do you? So with the Infinity range being way more weatherproof than a normal down jacket, would I use it in Scotland in winter? Well, maybe. Probably not on the days where it's clearly going to be pretty wild. I'll go back to a synthetic like the Generator Alpine or something like that. But I might consider taking them on some of those days where it's a pretty good forecast, but it's just going to be cold. In the Alps, I think it'll be getting used loads because sort of drier snow, but it is just so much more weatherproof. If you do get caught out, the likelihood is you're going to be much better off than a normal down jacket. So there we have it, 3 really impressive jackets for all different categories of the outdoors, whether it's sort of casual life and outdoor jacket, sort of lightweight adventures, or big, burly, warm, pretty gnarly things. I think they've really hit the nail on the head there. Well done, Rab.